That's like dressing up as Santa Claus to kill a kid on Christmas. Like, it's why? Hey guys, what's up? My name is Sky Webb and I'm here to talk about a true crime story that I cannot get off my mind. But before I get started, I just want to put out a little disclaimer that I mean no harm to any of the victims or the victims' families, and I wish everyone who was hurt within this story the utmost peace and solace, either in rest or in recovery. With that out of the way, happy True Crime Thursday and happy Halloween. Halloween's over, I guess. This is the last episode of my Halloween episodes. I decided not to dress up this week. I'm really sorry, but I had way too many appointments and I ran out of time again. I'm a piece of shit, I'm sorry. But my hair's a mess, so that's kind of spooky. Today we're looking into the clown killer Sheila Warren. This story takes place in Wellington, Florida, an area that is really well known for its elite population. It's known for everybody being rich, and it's known for famous people and presidents and private jets and mansions, and it's known as a really safe and secure area. It's this superly rich, safe reputation that really sort of blew the story up because everybody was shocked that a murder would happen in an area like this. So between that and the killer dressing like a clown, this story, it blew up. On the 26th of May 1990, just before 11 a.m, a woman called Marlene Warren, she hears a car pull up to her driveway, and she was home with her son and some of his friends at the time, so they all sort of heard the car pull up and they peeked outside, had a look who it was, and they see this clown dressed full to toe in like a clown costume climb out of a white Chrysler LeBaron, and they were carrying balloons and flowers, and they came and rang the doorbell. So Marlene opens the door and this clown gives her these bouquet of flowers, and there's this big balloon that says like, "You are the best." And Marlene thanks the clown. She says how beautiful the flowers are, how nice the balloons are. The clown's face was fully covered in makeup, in white makeup and clown makeup, so she didn't have any idea like who it was. And she just said thank you and smiled and got ready to like shut the door and go on about her day, when the clown pulls out a gun, aims it straight at Marlene's face and shoots her in the face. All of Marlene's son's friends run frantically out the back of the house at this point because they have no idea what's going on. All they saw was like a clown shoot their friend's mum in the face, point blank range, like scary shit, and they didn't know whether they were going to be like chased and pursued and killed as well. Like, they had no idea what was going on. But Marlene's son, he ran towards the killer, towards the clown, to try and help his mum, and the last thing that he saw of this clown was their brown eyes. Like, he remembers looking into their brown eyes, which is such a creepy fucking thing, looking into a killer's brown eyes. Oh my god. Like, literally the thought of just brown eyes under like white makeup, ugh, it's like giving me the heebie-jeebies. I really don't like it. But anyway, he saw these brown eyes and he saw this brown-eyed clown get into the white Chrysler. That's all he remembers as they drove away. So the boys who run out the back, they immediately tell the neighbors, and the neighbors call the police, and you know, the police arrive and the clown has already left, and they get an ambulance for Marlene, but 2 days later she dies in hospital. So an investigation begins, and the police quickly learn that Marlene was actually really well liked. Her neighbors all liked her and said how kind and friendly she was. Her friends all loved her. Her family all loved her. Nobody like thought she had any enemies. No one could think of anyone that would want to hurt her, let alone kill her. Like, it was a very hard thing for anyone to like point anyone out for that. But the police were pretty sure that like a targeted attack like this didn't seem random. An attack like this doesn't happen by a stranger. This happens with someone who knows you and wants you dead. And what really like cemented this idea was the fact that Marlene had all of her life collected clowns. Her and her family, her and her parents, I should say, have always collected clowns ever since she was a young girl. And even to this day, her parents still have a room that they call their circus room that is just covered in like clown costumes, masks, like artworks, paintings, clocks, like anything with a clown they have in that room. Like, it's insane but this sort of cemented the idea that like someone knew about the fact that she collected and loved clowns and then killed her as a clown. Like, that's sick and fucked up. That's not a coincidence. So as I said, Marlene was really well liked in the community, but her husband, Michael Warren, not so much. He was the kind of guy who was always involved in some new drama. He always had something to complain about. He was a little bit shady. He wasn't very friendly. He didn't get along with the people in Wellington. He didn't like go and hang out at the country club like the rest of them did. He didn't smile in the street and be friendly the way that Marlene did. And a lot of people sort of speculated that maybe someone had killed her because of him being like a shady guy, or him being rude to someone that he shouldn't have been rude with, or associating with people he shouldn't have associated with. And they sort of just blamed him because no one could understand why anyone would want to kill poor Marlene. So Michael was a used cars salesman, but he was pretty shitty. He sold pretty dodgy cars, he sold really cheap cars, and he was definitely looked down upon in Wellington. But I mean, half of that was probably his fault and the other half would just be like a classist thing maybe. But he was definitely shady. Like, he wasn't just selling cheap cars to people who needed the help like as a favor. He was like fucking with the cars and making it was a very dodgy business, like very illegal. So Marlene's parents, they weren't very fond of Michael at all. They knew that the couple had had quite a rocky marriage. They had a lot of ups and downs, and Marlene had actually said to them in the past, like, if anything happens to me, it was Michael, which is a big red fucking flag. On top of that, the couple actually owned multiple properties, but majority of those properties was in Marlene's name, which at the time would have caused quite a messy, long, drawn out divorce that probably wouldn't have favored Michael and most likely would have favored Marlene. Everything was in her name. I'm not entirely sure why, but if he wanted to get his hands on that, a divorce probably wasn't the way to go. He would have been a lot better off had she have died. Because of this, rumors started to circulate that perhaps Michael had a mistress. The police at the time didn't really entertain this idea, at least not at this point. And so the first thing they did was try and track down this clown costume. There was only 3 costume shops in the area at the time, so it was actually surprisingly easy to track down this clown costume. And the shop owners said that this woman had come in very adamant that she needed to get a clown costume, and she'd actually come in after hours. So the owner was like, come back tomorrow, I'll help you, no worries. But she was very adamant that she needed it right now, like tonight, like she could not come back tomorrow. And so she sold it to her, and that came with like the full clown costume, the shoes, the red nose, the wig, like everything. The owners described this woman who came and got the clown costume as being about 5'8". She had brown hair and brown eyes. And this was a good start, but it wasn't like a lot to go off when you're trying to track someone down. Like, a lot of people have brown hair and brown eyes, you know what I mean? So next they wanted to track down the balloon that said, "You are the best." So they found out that this balloon could only be purchased at a store called Publix. And so they went and spoke to the clerk there, and they found out that this woman with the same description, the brown hair and the brown eyes, she had come in about 90 minutes before the murder occurred, and she bought that balloon and a bouquet of flowers. So at this point, the police were pretty sure they were looking for the right person. Like, they had a description from multiple people now, and it all fit. So they decided they wanted to try and hunt down this white Chrysler, and that would sort of be like the connect the dots. But this was surprisingly easy compared to what they thought it was going to be. It was actually parked in the Publix parking lot, so goals. Unfortunately though, it wasn't what they thought it would be. Whoever had left it there had actually completely wiped it down of all fingerprints. They couldn't find anything in this car. So this pretty much brought them back to square one. There wasn't anything else to like track down, and you know, they weren't entirely sure where to go. So they decided to entertain the idea of Michael having a mistress. So they went and spoke to his work colleagues. His work colleagues, they pretty much confirmed that he was cheating on Marlene. They all thought, at least, that he was sneaking around with a car repossessor lady who worked with them called Sheila. And they described her as being like tough as nails, completely fearless, really confident woman, very pretty as well, and she was known for getting like a lot of male attention. And Michael's colleagues, they all said that both him and Sheila, they would sneak off, they'd have like lunches together, they'd always go disappearing at the same times, and it was all very suspicious enough that all of the colleagues had noticed it and discussed it and thought that something was going on. Sheila had previously been married to a man who was a member of the KKK, which I can't believe I even just said that. That's a real thing that happened. And now that she was no longer dating him, she had plenty of time to not date Michael. Sheila also didn't live too far away. She actually lived in an apartment paid for by Michael. And the other tenants that, saw them on quite a regular basis, they assumed that Sheila and Michael were actually married because they saw him so frequently in this apartment with Sheila. Not only is that like very, very suspicious that he's paying for another woman's apartment, she also had brown hair and brown eyes, by the way, but he stood to benefit from Marlene's death. Like I said earlier, he now had complete control and ownership over the business, over their properties. He also got a massive life insurance payout, so he was cheering. But despite all of that stuff, despite him paying for her apartment, they both completely denied any involvement together when they were asked. They both denied dating, they both denied any sexual relationship. Wow, okay, who can I get to pay for my apartment that I don't have to have any kind of relationship for? Because if that's a thing, like, I'm down, The police were granted a search warrant to search Sheila's house, but when they had a look at her house, they were unable to find anything that really connected her to the murder. They couldn't find the clown costume or the murder weapon. What they did find, however, was tiny little orange ruddy fibers that weren't real hair, so it was from a wig. So it was from the fucking clown wig. They assumed that it was from the fucking clown wig, which might seem like enough evidence, like when you put it all together, but it wasn't. And by now, they had actually tracked down where this Chrysler had been purchased or sold from, and it just so happened to be Michael's car sales shop thing, whatever the fuck they're called. So at this point, it literally couldn't get any more obvious that they had something to do with the fucking murder. They had something to do with each other, with the murder. Come on, dude. But just like Sheila, the police didn't have enough evidence to arrest Michael either. So the police continued to do whatever they could until the case was eventually ruled a cold case, which is so frustrating. But that was up until 2014, which, keep in mind, that's quite a long time between the murder and it no longer being a cold case. That's quite a long time to wait for some kind of justice. So in 2014, detectives realized that Sheila and Michael Warren were married. They'd actually gotten married in 2002. What the fuck? So they now know that Sheila has a motive, which is a good start. And then they reopened the case. They spoke to new witnesses. They used new DNA technology that, wasn't around back when the murders happened. And so now they're actually able to connect Sheila to the clown costume, to the balloons, to the flowers, to the murder scene, to that little fucking clown wig. Now she has a motive. After 27 years, she was arrested. She was arrested and taken to jail without bail. And she's expected to plead not guilty. Her lawyer says that she vehemently, how the fuck you say that word? Vehemently? I don't know. Denies having anything to do with the murder, just one murder. And after this, a man named John came forward, and his dad used to work with or for Michael Warren. He claims that his dad had confessed to him on his deathbed that he knew the secret behind Marlene Warren's death. He said that he knew the car's location, where the gun was hidden. He said he had evidence of odometer tampering, which is why I said he's a dodgy car salesman in the first place. And he said that like that was just a part of the job when you worked for Michael. So he had quite a lot of shade on Michael. And he also said that everybody who worked with Michael and everybody at the office knew about Marlene's love for clowns, because there was a couple of like clown things around the office that she had like gifted him. Everybody knew that she loved them, and he said that that's why Sheila chose to dress like a clown, which is really fucking sick the more that I think about it. And I'm unsure as to whether or not John's like confession to all this stuff has any validity. I don't know whether it'll be used in court or not. I mean, I doubt it, because it's not even like his word, it's his dad's word, so it's like almost Chinese whispers, and like, I don't know. I guess we will see. Sheila was supposed to sit trial this year, but due to the pandemic, she has been rescheduled to sit her trial in April 2021. And Michael, he has yet to be arrested, but he is being investigated. So if there was like a collaborative decision to kill Marlene and he had any part in it, hopefully that will be dealt with very soon. I hope to God she's found guilty next year, or not found guilty if she's not guilty, but I'm pretty sure she's guilty. Like, she looks very guilty, like the evidence is pointing towards her being guilty. So if she's guilty, I hope she's found guilty. That's probably the best way to put that forward. Her charge is a first-degree murder charge, and the prosecution originally said that they were going to seek out the highest form of punishment, which would have been the death penalty. But they've since retracted that and said that they won't seek out the death penalty, so we'll have to wait and see what they're looking for. I assume it's going to be life in prison because it's a first-degree murder charge, but she might take a plea deal, or who fucking knows. We will have to wait and see. That is the story of Sheila Keane Warren, the clown killer. Let me know what you guys think about this one in the comments down below. What do you think of Sheila? What do you think of Michael? Do you think he had something to do with it? It definitely seems likely that he did, but I don't know. Also, what do you think about the clown thing? Why would she dress as a clown? Of all things to dress as, why a clown? Like that's just like dark. Like, killing someone's obviously dark, but that's like extra. Like, that's like dressing up as Santa Claus to kill a kid on Christmas. Like, it's why? Like, anyway, let me know your thoughts and opinions in the comments down below, or you can head over to my social medias, which is linked in the description down below. I would love to hear your opinions on this case. It is so fucking weird to me, but anyway. And I really hope you guys enjoyed this one, because it is the last Halloween one. It's not very Halloween-y. I'm aware of that. I'm talking really fast, and someone commented to not talk so fast, so I'm sorry. I don't talk like this in like person, so I don't know why I do it when I'm by myself. There's too much in my brain. I gotta get all out before I forget the next part, because then that's really annoying if anyway, you don't care. Be sure to give this video a big thumbs up if you feel like it. I would really appreciate it. And be sure to subscribe so that you can see all my new videos. I post every single Thursday all about true crime, and I would love to have you be a part of it. Make sure you guys are being safe out there. Don't answer the door to strangers. Don't cheat on your fucking wives. And most importantly, never trust clowns. Thank you guys so much for watching. Happy Halloween. Bye. Take a breath.